Scrapyard Dog on the Atari Lynx. This is actually part of the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection on the PlayStation 4. Again, I've said this before, I am fascinated by this particular period of video games, which is right before the 3D polygonal consoles and video games started coming in. And the Atari Lynx is that era of the early 1990s when you started seeing companies starting to make, non-Nintendo companies, making more video games on their own consoles, like the Neo Geo, the Sega Genesis, obviously, the PC Engine. Late 80s, early 90s when you started seeing that. I was always fascinated by the competition because I never owned any of those competing consoles back in the day. But every time I kept reading about these games, a lot of them just seemed terrible. I played the 7800 version of this game in an earlier video. It's god-awful. It's basically a mediocre platformer. If it came out in 1986 on the NES, it would be quickly forgotten. At least in America it would have been. It probably wouldn't have done much better in Japan either. But unfortunately, it came out in 1990 on a console that was already being lapped by games like Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3. Not to mention all the Metroids and the Zeldas and But if you had a 7800, you could play a crappy platformer of your very own. No. Now, this game, however, is the Lynx version of the same 7800 game. It's apparently it's a little bit better from what I've played, in the sense that the controls are way, way better. That makes a huge difference. Because the main problem with the 7800 game is that the controls are very slippery and mushy. So your character always seemed to move too far every time they were running, and the controls were kind of mushy when you tried to jump. So you didn't get the precision of a Super Mario Brothers, but you also didn't get the satisfaction that would come with a better Mario game. Like, say, Mario 2 or 3. So it just felt like a bad platformer from the mid-1980s. That just came out in 1990, when far better platformers had already been released by the droves on the NES by that point. And then there's this, which is a Lynx game, which, well, okay, it potentially could have looked better than a Famicom platformer. It really doesn't. Like, in terms of visuals, it looks like a good-looking portable game, but it doesn't look like it doesn't look much better than your average NES game did back then. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this game looks better than Blaster Master. There's only 2 pages? I guess you only need one page to play this game. Let's see. Jump, throw can. Can't fire weapon. Yeah. Which is fine. That might be all you need, if we're being honest. I can work with those controls. Well, see, the Lynx had 4 buttons on the face, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to find out right now, aren't we? Yep. Well, you can't see it. No, there were 2 buttons. And it was a left-handed. You could also invert the screen entirely if you wanted to play left-handed. So the B and the A buttons could be inverted depending on whether or not you played the Lynx, quote, left-handed or right-handed. I think that's one of the most brilliant designs for a controller ever. The ability to just invert the controls like that. I kind of wish Nintendo did that with the Switch. Maybe you can. I haven't bothered to check. But with detachable controllers, maybe it could potentially work as a left-handed controller. I need to ask some left-handed gamers. Anyway, this is also a somewhat mediocre platformer from what I've played, but I'll give this one more of a run. But yeah, I have not played any good Lynx games so far. I have not played any good Jaguar. Actually, I have played one decent Jaguar game so far, which was a pinball game, which really wasn't even that good of a pinball game. But it was a Jaguar game I was willing to play for more than an hour, which is more than I can say for most Jaguar games I've played, or most of the games I played on this collection. which, like the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, it's a very good collection of very bad games. Maybe I'll play the better games later. Like Cybermorph is apparently not god awful, but it's not great either. Yeah, the controls are way better than the 7800 version. Things are a lot tighter here. Yeah, much better jumping controls. The movement of the character is a lot tighter, so it's less frustrating. Can I jump on this guy's head? No. So you can't, this isn't a Mario-like platform. You have to avoid enemies or throw your cans at them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to reset. Again, I do think it's always been disturbing to me that Atari just kept cranking out these prototypes as free as, like, fully released titles. And even by the standards of a portable system. If you look at games like Super Mario Land, or Tetris even. Tetris, Super Mario Land, you know. Solar Striker apparently wasn't god-awful. And the Game Boy had, like, decent titles. Like, they actually had, like, decent titles early on. They didn't feel like prototypes. They felt like real games. And then Link's Adventure came out. And it's like, yeah, this is an actual, you know, full-blown, you know, NES sequel to an NES game on the Game Boy. Although there were some games, like Castlevania Adventure and Fall of the Foot Clan, were just awful. But they were awful because they didn't know how much of the traditional gameplay those franchises were used to could translate to a Game Boy, you know, to a portable system was kind of like square. So I hit the square button to throw that can at him. How many cans I got? I think I'm out of cans. Do I have those 9 cans? Let me do a quick check on that. Items found. Yeah, it doesn't show what the top of your screen looks like. Guns. Yeah, I have no more cans. Okay. Oh, so my cans are unlimited. Okay, so I got unlimited cans. Okay, this is way better than the 7800 game. So it's like fireballs in Mario. So the cans aren't limited. That's good. Can't throw them up. Okay, so you can just throw cans at people. So for some reason, you could have unlimited cans in the 7800 game. I don't know why that was a thing. Maybe I shouldn't have played the 7800 version at all. That would have saved me a bunch of trouble. Yeah, off to a roaring start. This game isn't that hard, I'm just being somewhat sloppy, so I'll be the first to admit that. Get better. Fine, I'll get better. It's technically a research tree. So yeah, this is objectively a better game than the 7800 version. Unless it, like, breaks at some point in the next 20 minutes. Oh, you can cancel the throw. Yeah, if you keep pressing the button, you can spam cans. That's actually amusing. Huh. That actually might work. Yeah, let me do a check on something. Yeah, like I'm just gonna do something dumb. I'm just gonna do a save scum here, I don't care. It won't make a huge difference. But yeah, you can spam this attack button to create like a short range machine gun. This game is not that hard. I'm just being sloppy. That crap. Literally. So if you want to cancel your throw, you can just keep pressing the button. Or you can just let it go, and it'll just keep bouncing. Which is kind of a nice touch. So I do like how you can cancel the can that's already in midair. That's kind of hilarious. Whoops. God. Just incredibly sloppy. I promise I'll stop doing this. It's just... I mean, at the risk of, like, sounding... At the risk of being captive to this game's mediocrity, this actually seems okay. By Jaguar standards. Not by Atari standards. Again, the kind of stuff that's, like, common on your average NES platformer. Seems like an achievement on a Lynx. What does that tell you? On a far more powerful console. On a far more powerful console, the ability of a more powerful console to make a competent platformer is somehow an achievement. That's some Stockholm Syndrome right there. So this game is probably a 6 out of 10 at best at this point. Dog's got a gun. Got him. Is that the mouse from Mappy Land? I was making pretty good progress, though. So let's see how we do. Wow. Kind of embarrassing, really. So I guess the bird drops its load at a certain spot on the map. So if I just run right under him, he's just gonna completely miss me. He doesn't drop it on me, he drops it on a spot on the map. Like he's hitting a target in Sky Kid. It's an old Namco game, if you remember that. Which actually got an NES port I was not aware of. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta admit, this is a little bit better than I was expecting. Just to say it's good, it's just that playing the 7800 version really warped my brain. It's like they seem to be saying, yeah, you don't want to play that version either, just get a Lynx. You play that one instead. We're actually gonna put effort into this one. I want to say the 7800, they got a decent version of Joust, did they? Because, I mean, I would love to play Desert Falcon on a 7800, but it's a terrible game. Like, it runs better on the 7800, obviously, but it's just really hard. Like, the 2600 version is, like, redunculously abstract. Like, it's almost impossible to make sense of what you're even looking at in that game. And I play that game on this channel. And I realized just how... And I remember as a kid, I played like hundreds of hours of that game as a kid. Because I didn't have an NES back then. So in 1990, before I got my NES and I was playing, Bases Loaded, and Ninja Turtles all day, the boy was playing Midnight Magic and Desert Falcon and... What was that other game? I played a lot of Midnight Magic, a lot of Desert Falcon, and I played a whole lot of Joust on that 2600. What that was a Galaxian, not even Galaga, just Galaxian. Megalomania, definitely some Megalomania in there. Yeah, it takes 2 hits, I guess. Yeah, no doors yet. Yeah, not only is this a completely different game, it should just get wow. It should just give it a different title. Why even bother giving it the same title? Like it's actually going to help increase sales. Well, maybe it's just easier for the legal team to do. Oh. There were no places around me that allowed you to rent Lynx games. So if anything, I probably would have, like, sold some NES games to buy Lynx games. I don't think I would have ever bought this. Me being me, I probably would have ended up buying Kung Fu, which was apparently a god-awful Lynx brawler that, for some reason, Chris Bionek over at, Can I not jump over that? Some reason, Video Games Computer Entertainment, Chris Bionek really liked that. I guess he liked its charm, but it's charming for a Lynx game, I guess. Wow. No continues, huh? I don't think the game's that hard. I'm just being sloppy. That's what I think the problem is. This isn't Dark Souls or anything. Yeah, the Dark Souls of Lynx games. Actually, that would be Shadow of the Beast. A game I've still never played. I've been dying to play that game because I've heard it looks amazing. I've seen, like, YouTube videos of it. But it's also apparently really hard and really boring and, like, really annoying. Like, the game's entire vibe is, what if we made a side-scroller with art that looks like 70s rock album covers? Like, psychedelic rock album covers. And if you actually see the visuals, you know what I'm talking about. Like, does it look like the cover of, like, a Rick Wakeman album or something? What's the guy's name? Rick Wakefield? Who's the guy from Yes? I don't remember his name. The guitarist or whatever. You know what I mean. There's some old heads who know what I'm talking about. The whole vibe was, let's make a game where the world looks like this album cover. Do they still make album covers that dope anymore? They probably do. It's just that people don't buy physical CDs anymore, right? Well, apparently they do buy vinyl. But... Look, I grew up with vinyl. I don't see the fascination with it. That analog hum everyone loves so much, it's literally just interference. I don't see the point of it. I grew up with that analog hum. Like I have family members who own they still have the Purple Rain album they bought when they were in high school. So I know what it's like to have an original vinyl being played on an actual record player. I know what that's like. The first time I ever saw a record was like a 45-inch single of Another One Bites the Dust by Queen. So I know what it's like. Maybe I shouldn't even be jumping over it. I think I have to jump over that. How about I save the game before I jump over that? Because I don't want to lose another life trying to figure out if I die walking on that thing or not. It's driving me nuts. Okay, let's try that again. We're going to cheat. I'm just getting sick of having to figure out if I'm going to die if I walk on that thing. See, I knew it. Alright, so I do have to jump. Just a matter of how I jump. Yeah, this was sophisticated game design for some... Back in the day, this is like, what, mid-1980s game design. How challenging should your platforming challenges be? There you go. So a light jump. There's only one jump height? Yeah, there's only one jump height. Now, there it is. There is a lower jump height. So there are... Whoops. Excuse me. There are two jump heights. Fine. I understand that. That's still more than what the 7800 game had. This game feels a lot more conventional than the 7800 game does, though. Like, it's way better. The 7800 had you knocking on doors and stuff. Like, it had you going into shops. Like, there was more stuff to do than here, where it's like, there's no can. In that game, you could sell cans to, like, buy other stuff, like special weapons that you almost never used. Got him. Let's do a regular jump. Okay, that was cute. Just a skip. Since you can't touch people, you just stay for to throw crap at them. So that works for me. So this is going to be on Awesome Games Done Quick, or what? Can't go in there. Oh well. Oh, I can duck. And I can throw while ducking. That's good to know. I want to say you definitely couldn't do that in the 7800 version. Made it. I'll definitely be less sick during my next video. Oh, wow! Pow! Welcome to the junkyard, son. Okay, now it's getting real. Yeah, now it gets real. Okay. Dude's actually jumping over my cans. What? Okay. Well then. Nice. Okay, he wants a piece of this. Got him. That's how it's done. Well, you know, transparent backgrounds. It's not easy to do on a Lynx, is it? I mean, like I said, these graphics are really mid. I mean, okay. No, they don't look better than an NES. That was always the problem for me. I can't think of any Lynx game that looked better than like a good NES game. Like, does this look better than like your average Sunsoft game? I would say no. Well, let's put a better example. Does this look better than Blaster Master or Batman on the NES? Of course it doesn't. Is it more colorful? Yeah, sure, but you know what? The art's not great. So as pixel art goes, this is pretty unremarkable. Oh, there we go. Remember, I can't throw upward. Wait, can I jump on the top? Yes, I can. Okay, so why even bother staying on the ground? Can I jump down? No, you can't jump down. Fine. Whoops! Day to you too. You let roll a little bit further ahead of you. Whoops. Okay. Can I get back up? There we go. See, better jump. Whoops! I was gonna say better jumping controls. You would not want to do a series of jumps like that in the 7800 version. This is not as terrible. So, fair warning, this game is not as terrible. but it's also extremely... It's not... I wouldn't say it's mid for a Lynx game, but it's... Let me put it this way. If this were an NES game, it would be mid at best. But at least it's not, like, terrible. This came out in 1988. Like, if this game came out before Mario Brothers 2, it'd be considered fine. Like a good kid's game, you know? Secret areas. I don't remember any of that. Is it the best? Well, again, the best platform game on the Lynx. What's the competition? No extra features, unfortunately. Yeah, no extra features here. We'll come back and play more. We might come back and play more of this later. This just feels kind of the... I'll probably combine this with something else. I took my $5 earbuds and plugged into my gamepad for this particular video. We'll see how this one goes.